Have you ever walked into a room full of people and felt your chest tighten, not from fear, but from a quiet knowing that you do not belong here, not because you're broken, but because your mind simply works differently? There's something no one tells you about being a smart thinker. A deep feeler, a person who lives in the layers beneath ordinary conversation, socializing isn't always connection. Sometimes it's emotional labor. And if you've ever wondered why your energy drains faster in social spaces than in solitude, you are not alone. There is a reason your mind feels heavy in rooms where everyone else seems light. Highly perceptive people carry the weight of awareness. You notice the tone behind the words, the micro expressions masked behind the smiles, the contradictions people try to hide with small talk. Your mind is scanning, absorbing, analyzing, and it never turns off. While others enjoy the moment, you're feeling everything. You sense tension no one acknowledges. You read emotions no one admits. You understand dynamics people avoid. And that level of awareness is powerful but exhausting. It's not that you hate people. You just feel them too deeply, too honestly, too intensely. Socializing becomes a battlefield where you're navigating unspoken expectations, hidden emotions, and then surface level conversations that leave you starving for something real. You want truth, you want depth, you want presence, but most social environments are filled with noise, not meaning. So you retreat, not because you are antisocial, but because your mind needs spaces where it can breathe, not perform. This is the unspoken struggle. The smarter and more aware you become, the harder it is to feel genuinely connected in shallow environments. There's a moment smart, deeply aware people experience at every gathering, that instant when the conversation shifts into empty loops of gossip, complaints, predictable reactions, and shallow exchanges, and you feel your soul quietly step back. You're still there physically, you're nodding, you're listening, you're participating. But inside, something in you whispers, this is not the connection I crave. You're not arrogant, you're not dismissive. You're simply starving for conversations that feel alive, conversations that reach into truth, vulnerability, curiosity, imagination, purpose. But instead, you often find people talking without saying anything, people sharing without revealing anything real, people laughing without feeling joy, people asking questions that don't matter and avoiding the ones that do. It's emotional suffocation for a mind that thrives on authenticity. You don't want to discuss the weather, the neighbors, the latest trend, or who said what behind whose back. Your mind wants meaning. It wants nuance. It wants dialogue that sharpens you instead of numbing you. But when you try to shift the conversation to something deeper, you're often told, you think too much, don't be so intense, lighten up, and suddenly you feel like your depth is a burden rather than a gift. So you pull back, you stay quiet. You let the conversation swirl around you while your spirit goes somewhere else, somewhere it feels less alone. This is the quiet achy of intelligent people. The world celebrates loud voices, but rarely makes space for deep ones. And that's why socializing feels draining, because your truth is too heavy for spaces built on lightness. There's a part of you that feels the world sharper than most people realize. Not just the words people say, but the energy behind them. The hesitation, the tension, the resentment, the hidden insecurity, you pick it all up instantly. And this sensitivity is not weakness. It is a deeper form of intelligence and ability to decode human behavior in real time. But here's the truth most people will never understand. Feeling this much is exhausting. When you walk into a room, your brain doesn't ease in. It switches on. You're reading every expression. You're noticing shifting dynamics. You're sensing discomfort that others completely miss. You're absorbing emotions that aren't even yours. Before a conversation even begins, your mind has already done a full scan of the environment. That's why socializing feels heavier to you than it does to others. You're not just managing your own emotions, you're managing the emotional temperature of everyone around you. And the hardest part, people think you're quiet because you're shy or distant because you're uninterested, or reserved because you're cold. But the truth is so different. You're quiet because you're listening beyond the noise. You're reserved because you're absorbing too much at once. You're distant because you protect your emotional bandwidth. You know the cost of engaging deeply, even in simple conversations. And when people aren't emotionally safe, long before they ever show it. Your sensitivity is your superpower, but the world often turns it into chronic emotional fatigue. This is the silent bird's eye. You feel more than most people even notice. There's a strange loneliness that comes with always being the one who sees everything. You're the observer, the one who stands slightly outside the moment, watching the patterns, the behaviors, the contradictions that others glide past without noticing. While people socialize effortlessly, you're analyzing the unspoken, who feels left out, who is pretending, who's performing confidence they don't actually feel, who's masking pain beneath a smile, who is being allowed to hide their insecurity, who is withdrawing because they feel invisible. Your mind connects dots before conversations even begin. And here's the truth, no one talks about being the observer makes you feel separate, not superior, not detached. Simply separate. Because while others immerse themselves in the moment, you're forced to witness it with a clarity that can feel isolating. You see the dynamics, you see the intentions, you see the truth beneath the surface. And sometimes you wish you didn't. You wish you could enjoy things without analyzing them. You wish you could relax without reading the energy in the room. You wish you could just be. Instead of understanding, interpreting, and anticipating everything, but your mind doesn't switch off. It notices when someone feels ignored. It catches the hint of resentment. It reads the fake enthusiasm. It senses the tension people think they hide well. This constant observing is why socializing drains you quicker than others. Your brain is doing work in every moment. Work most people never realize because they don't experience the world the way you do. And that's the hidden struggle. When you see too much, you feel too alone. There's a painful assumption people make about you. You're smart, so socializing should be easy for you. But intelligence does not guarantee social ease. In fact, for many deep thinkers, it creates the opposite problem because your mind doesn't move at the speed of small talk. It moves at the speed of truth. People think that because you articulate well, you must be comfortable in every room. Because you understand complex ideas, you must also navigate social dynamics effortlessly. Because you're good at problem solving, you must also be good at connection. But they don't see the reality. You rehearse conversations in your head before speaking. You analyze your own tone even after you walk away. You question whether you overshared, undershared, or said something strange. You relive moments trying to understand what others never even noticed. Your intelligence gives you awareness, but awareness without emotional safety becomes self-consciousness. And that's the part people don't understand. They compliment your mind but forget your humanity. They expect performance instead of presence. They assume you're confident when you're actually calculating 10 different social possibilities at once. So when you step back, when you choose silence, when you leave early, they're confused. They think you're rude or uninterested. But the truth is simple, your brain is tired. Your heart is tired. Your energy is tired. Not because you don't like people, but because being you in social spaces takes effort others never have to expend. Smart doesn't mean socially unlimited. Sometimes it means socially overwhelmed. One of the deepest reasons smart minds struggle with socializing is this: you refuse to pretend. You can't fake laughter when something isn't funny. You can't force excitement when something doesn't matter to you. You can't wear a mask just to belong. But social environments often reward exactly that: the ability to be agreeable, to fit in, to blend, to be easy. So you find yourself in situations where you feel pressured to dilute your truth. You soften your opinions so no one feels intimidated. You hide your curiosity so others don't feel uncomfortable. You dim your intensity because people fear depth. You hold back your real thoughts because honesty is often too heavy for casual conversations. And inside, you feel the H of self, betrayal. Because every time you shrink to make others comfortable, a small part of you dissolves. You've learned that many people don't want authenticity. They want simplicity. They want the predictable version of you, the agreeable one, the light one. The version that doesn't challenge the room. But your mind wasn't built for performance. It was built for integrity. So being forced into personas, smiling when you feel drained, nodding when you disagree, acting normal when your thoughts are galaxies deeper becomes suffocating. You would rather stay home, stay silent, or stay alone than compromise who you are for acceptance that doesn't feel real. Because at your core, you know this truth. Authenticity costs you connection in the wrong rooms, but protects your soul in the right ones. And that is why socializing sometimes feels like wearing shoes that don't fit. You can do it, but every step hurts. One of the most exhausting experiences for a smart, emotionally aware person is this: you are always the one holding the conversation together. You ask the thoughtful questions. You listen with intention. You create depth when the moment feels empty. You guide the discussion when it veers into nothingness. You offer empathy when others offer pretense. And people don't realize how much energy that requires. You're the one who bridges awkward silences. You're the one who adapts to different personalities. You're the one who reads the emotional temperature and adjusts. You're the one who notices when someone is uncomfortable and gently pulls them back in. You do the emotional labor, not because you want to, but because you can. Your mind recognizes what's missing long before anyone else sees it. So instead of waiting, you fill the gaps. But the truth is, it leaves you empty, because conversations where you carry all the weight never feel mutual. You walk away feeling unheard, unseen, unnourished, as if you poured from a full cup into 20 empty ones and no one thought to refill yours. You crave reciprocity. You crave someone who asks you something real, someone who listens with the same depth you offer, someone who understands that connection is a two-way current, not a one-sided performance. But too often, you leave social situations feeling like the strong one, the deep one, the understanding one, while no one truly sees the real you. And that's the loneliness of intelligent minds. You know how to connect with everyone, yet very few know how to connect with you. There's a quiet tension you carry into every social setting, a tension born from wanting meaningful connection while knowing that most environments are built on performance, not presence. You walk into gatherings hoping for honesty, sincerity, and depth. But what you often find feels rehearsed, filtered, and painfully predictable. People present their highlight reels. People speak in scripts they've memorized from habit. People play roles designed to impress, not connect. And for a mind that thrives on truth, this becomes a battlefield of inner conflict, because you don't know how to pretend, just to blend in. You're not wired to chase popularity. You're wired to seek resonance. You're not craving attention. You're craving alignment. But social expectations can feel suffocating. Be fun. Be light. Don't be too serious. Don't ask real questions. No. Go too deep. Don't show too much. Don't reveal too little. It's an unwritten rule book that punishes authenticity and rewards conformity. And while others follow it effortlessly, you feel yourself rejecting it in silence. Because the truth is, every time you try to mold yourself to fit social norms, something inside you whispers, this is not you. And you listen. That's why socializing drains you, not because you lack social skills, but because you refuse to sacrifice your soul for belonging that feels artificial. You'd rather sit with one person who speaks from the heart than 10 people who speak from ego. You'd rather have silence with meaning than conversations without truth. Your depth is not the problem. The world's comfort with shallow connection is. There's an invisible layer to socializing that most people never think about, but you feel it every time you enter a room. The unspoken rules. Rules everyone else seems to follow effortlessly while you stand there trying to decode them like a foreign language. Rules like say enough, but not too much. Share, but stay guarded. Be honest, but not too honest. Ask questions, but not the wrong ones. Show interest, but don't look too invested. Be confident, but not intimidating. Be warm, but not vulnerable. It's a balancing act that feels like walking a tightrope between authenticity and social expectation. Your mind is always calculating, did that sound strange? Was that too deep? Should I have laughed? Did they misunderstand what I meant? Am I being too quiet or too much? Meanwhile, people around you just exist in the moment without overthinking, without analyzing, without carrying the weight of constant self-awareness. And you wonder, why does it look so easy for them? It's not that you don't know how to socialize. It's that socializing requires you to edit yourself in real time, to censor your truth, to monitor your reactions, to match an energy you don't naturally feel. That emotional negotiation, that internal filtering, that constant assessment drains your battery faster than any conversation ever could. You're not uncomfortable with people. You're uncomfortable with the invisible expectations that demand you shrink to fit. That's the hidden struggle. Your mind is too awake, too aware, too alive to glide through social rules that make no emotional sense. And that awareness costs energy, energy you sometimes no longer want to spend. After all of this, it's important to understand something vital. Your struggle with socializing is not a flaw. It's a signal of your depth. You don't avoid people because you are broken. You avoid social environments because you are whole, aware, and selective about the energy you allow in your life. Solitude isn't loneliness for you. It's sanctuary. It's a place where your mind can breathe, where your thoughts aren't drowned out by superficiality, where your sensitivity is a gift rather than a burden. It's in these quiet spaces that your brilliance, creativity, and insight truly thrive. The world may never fully understand why you withdraw, why you step back, why you prefer a small circle over a crowded room, but that is okay. Your energy is precious and your boundaries are necessary. You are protecting your emotional bandwidth, preserving your mental clarity, and honoring your soul's needs. Socializing is a tool, not a test. It is not a measure of your worth. It is not proof that you belong. You belong because you are exactly who you are, intense, aware, reflective, and deeply human. So embrace the spaces that feel alive. Cherish the conversations that matter. Release the guilt over avoiding rooms that drain you. And know this, the smartest, most sensitive minds are often the quietest in the crowd. Not because they cannot connect, but because they connect too deeply to waste their soul on shallow spaces. Your depth is not a curse, it is your compass. And the more you honor it, the more your life will be filled with connection that truly resonates, energy that genuinely nourishes, and presence that actually matters